Hey, just wanted to give a shout out to everybody out there. I wanted to share some things that I've learned. It's been about 2.5 years since the discard, and people have been asking me like different things. So I wanted to give you a different perspective. I wanted to help you see the reality of what you're involved in. And the thing is that what we think we know is true isn't really the truth. So what do I mean by that? So narcissistic abuse was the most painful thing, but what I wanted to do was to kind of compare it to a car. Okay, now I'm a little bit rusty at this. It's been a while, so here's the thing. Here's what I was thinking about. So you know how there's automatic transmission cars and then there's the stick shift? Did any of you ever have that stick shift where it's like, you know, my first car was a stick and like I would grind a pound. I mean, it was really bad on shifting. But what's happened, what I figured out would happen to me, and maybe this can apply to you, is that I was used to driving the automatic for my life. So in other words, when I went from first gear to second gear to third gear, I didn't even think about it. It was automatic. When I was in an automatic car, I didn't think about the transmission, about when to shift or anything like that, because the car kind of does it for me. And so the whole secret to this thing, to getting better, what I found is that there's a level of awareness that you have to have that you just might not be aware of yet. It's a different perspective, and it's a different way of looking at the things, because you've had that automatic car all your life and you don't know that there's anything, you don't understand the shifting in between the gears for that car to go. Yeah, cars really do that. They do. Otherwise they would blow up, because they have to shift gears to be able to accelerate at different speeds. So see, now if you go from an automatic car to a stick shift, you have to know when to shift. You have to have an idea of when the RPMs are a certain, you know, it's a certain RPM, and then you have to know to engage it to that next gear. So why am I talking about automatic cars and stick shift cars? Because what you have to do almost mentally, almost emotionally, is create this awareness so that you know what you're doing when you stick shift, when you shift gears. You have to get out of that automatic mindset and then go from like shifting from one to the next. So where that applies is when you're around somebody and you suddenly feel bad about yourself, or you feel awful or something, and then you override that and try to please them. That little tiny that split second of time that you have, that's when you're shifting gears, and that's when you have to be aware of that. You have to listen to that. So you know, you meet somebody new, their actions don't match up with their words, you get a bad vibe. But what happens is, if you're like me, you were conditioned to just override that, and you're so focused on pleasing them that just goes like one in one ear and out the other, or in one feeling and out the other, or something to that effect. So I've been really kind of wrestling with this concept the last day, but I really wanted to emphasize that you just have to have that awareness of when you shift. So awareness is so key. And here's the thing, you really can't develop that awareness. You really can't start going to, you can't learn how to drive a stick shift car unless you get away from the narcissist, unless you physically spend time apart, because they're going to bring you back to that where you're not going to want to do it. At least that's what I found. So I don't know if that concept this is the first time I've presented it. But again, it's just having that awareness, just knowing that knowing what's going on inside your head, knowing what triggers you, knowing how you physically feel when you're around somebody, just listening to your body like that. It's so key. I can't tell you how helpful that was to have that awareness. But when you're in an automatic car, you don't think about it. You're just, when you've got the old programming inside of you, you just keep going. You just glide right through like a reaction. You know, in a 1 minute exchange, you go through all 4 gears, you don't even know. But when you're stick shifting, when you have to think about going to the next gear, that's what you want to do. And what you want to do eventually is be able to get to a new automatic car that shifts properly. Because right now, the automatic car you're in, it's coasting along, but it's in first gear, and it's not quite right. It's malfunctioning a little bit because it's shifting way later than it should, or it's shifting way earlier than it should. So what you do is you get in that stick shift, you realize when to shift gears, when to disengage, when to just realize it's not about you, that it's not, and when I mean it's not about you, I don't mean you're a narcissist, but I mean that these people are not going to be nice to you, or there's just a lot of things that we think that is going on because we've been programmed, that we have to break that programming. I know it's a really poor analogy. I'm just trying to figure out a way though, but you have to know, like, my main point, my main overall concept, and I was trying to explain it with a car, was that you have to, we don't have to do anything, but what you want to do to get better is to create an awareness, is to listen to what your body's saying, and don't override it. Listen to what it's saying. Maybe journal it so you can remember. That's helpful. I didn't always do that, but it did help. But you just want to just be so aware. And there's good books to teach you this. There's good books like, well, there's a lot of good books on boundaries. Boundaries is a really good book. But read some books so that you can figure out, so you got the manual on how to fine-tune those gears so that you can make it into a new automatic car. I'm sorry, it's just the worst analogy, but I haven't done a video in a while, so I'm kind of rusty at this. So I wanted to get that out because that was so key. That was so important to me. I mean, no contact is still absolute key because you're not going to be able to really move forward and take the time to get that awareness if you're around this person all the time, especially if you live with them. Guys, what happens is you begin to see, and we all get this, right? It's been 2.5 years for me. I am so glad that I was discarded. I am so glad. I can say that genuinely. I used to say it, you know, a couple of years ago after it happened, like kind of a little reluctantly, but I am so glad that I got discarded because I lost my identity. Now that I wasn't in the middle of the situation, I can look at it from an observer would, somebody outside of it. And now that I can look back, I didn't realize how much I'd lost myself. I didn't realize until I was out with somebody, this new relationship I had with somebody that's not a narc. It took me a few. But I didn't realize how good you can feel around somebody. When somebody wants to be with you, when somebody wants to, you know, they're calling you all the time. And there's no hidden games. They're just, hey, how's it going? And you just talk back to that person. You have open, honest communication. If you don't like something, that's the other thing too, is that, you know, when you figure out that gear manual, when you figure out how to drive that car or how to fix that car so that you're doing automatic in a good way, you will be more true to yourself. You'll have more self-respect. You'll speak your mind. Some of you are afraid to speak your mind. I know, I was too, but when you figure out what you really want, and what happens is you think people are gonna like not want to be around you if you speak your mind, then you're gonna be, you know, turn a bunch of people off. Well, you know what? You're gonna lose some friends. Those people that you thought were friends, they weren't really friends. They were hanging around you because of the way you are, because you're always kind of wishy-washy or a people pleaser. That's what I found. I'm not saying you are, but it's just, trust me on this. If you go no contact, and I know some of you have gone no contact and went back and gone no contact, stick with it. It takes people 7 times on average. So just do it. Go no contact. And that void, fill it with books. Fill it with trying to learn how to be aware of things. Be aware of your feelings. Be aware. There's some people that, like, there's people now, I can instantly tell if I'm around them, they're bad news. It's like automatic. I just feel it, and I listen to my gut, and then I don't stick around them, or I don't, you know, if it's business, I have to, but in some cases, I won't if I don't have to work with that person. So I just, you know, I was much more active in the groups before because I was in pain, and what helped me was to reach out to other people and to encourage them, and that's what I wanted to do here. Almost like, you know, I'm on the other side of the wall now. It's like, come on, it's great. You'll get through it. Look, you'll get through it. The reality that you think you have is your own reality. It's your own limiting beliefs. It's your own beliefs that, you know, the narc is fair and he's gonna or she's gonna, you know, they get all the spoils and they, you know, they're doing okay and I'm not. Oh my God, it so doesn't work that way. They're some of the worst people. They hate themselves. They have so much shame. I know it doesn't seem like it, right? Because they're so confident and boisterous and just, you know, everything's hunky-dory. That's the illusion. That's the illusion. And when you can live and be true to yourself and not have to play into that illusion, because that's what we do. We get suckered into that illusion. When you can do that, I'm telling you, it's so much better to not have to live with that, because you're not second guessing. You're not thinking, what did she really mean by that? What was he really trying to do? I mean, you know, before we wouldn't really second guess them. You know, we just took it. We were confused, but we overrode it, and we would just take it. But I don't take bullshit anymore, guys. It's so much easier. It's so much easier. So I just wanted to share that with you because I know a lot of you are struggling out there. I was really struggling 2.5 years ago. I couldn't believe that this person that I thought I knew didn't have any empathy, didn't have any compassion. And the more I read, I realized, yeah, that's true. The behaviors were there, you know. Now, have I forgiven her? I've accepted her. I've accepted that she's that way, and I've moved on. But I moved on by going no contact. And there's the hoovering and all that stuff, but I'm telling you guys, just the pain you're in right now is meant to teach you something. It's meant to teach you that you need to do something different because this ain't working. There are people out there that are honest and genuine and sincere that don't have the issues, that don't try to make you feel like crap to make themselves feel better. There are people out there, okay? Lots of people out there. But chances are, if you're like me, a lot of the circle of your friends, if you're the people pleaser and they're used to getting pleased, then you're probably going to lose a lot of them. They're not really your friends. They're not. Now here's the other thing too, is I wasn't going to make this too long, but the other thing too is that the narcs tend to give us this black and white thinking. Like people are either all good or all bad. You're either for me or against me. I either trust you or I don't trust you. Because you are who you are, because you're most likely in this group, you're more compassionate, you're more empathetic. You understand people a lot better because you're living in reality. So you understand people a lot better, and you will meet people that you've got different degrees. Like you have different levels of trust. Like you can trust somebody to watch your back on, you know, walking or going to a party, but you wouldn't trust them for, you know, letting them borrow money. So, you know, the narcissists are all, you know, you're either for me or against me. Well, you know, so what I'm saying is you'll make a lot more friends, but you'll fine tune on what you can do with this friend. You're not going to let them do your taxes because their tax advice is bad. They're not a tax accountant, but you can trust them to give you a haircut because they're a hairdresser or something. So that's kind of what I mean with a narc. If you're, you know, if you're a hairdresser and they give you a bad haircut, they give the narc a bad haircut, the narc doesn't like him for anything. It's all bad, you know. So they have that black and white thinking, and that's one of the things that I found when I first got away from it, is that I was thinking like that, and it's not healthy. All, nothing, never. You always do this, you never do that. So you'll begin to see that you're going to be okay, okay? You're going to be okay. This one person that you're focused on, the narcissist, my narc, they're not going to mean much to you. Trust me, they're not going to mean much to you over time. Now, how fast that time frame is, it depends on what you do. You know, if you start dating somebody else or trying to have somebody else fill that void, yeah, you might not be able to look at the gear shifts that I was talking about earlier. You might never have that awareness, and then you're going to have the same issues over and over again. The same issues attracting people that are problematic. So I just wanted to put that out there. I'm not getting comments on the screen here, but I'll look at your comments down below. And as always, you know, guys, you're going to get through this. You're going to be okay. I promise. Okay? I promise. What you see, your reality about how life isn't fair, that's what you're going through right now. Our thoughts. I learned this too. I learned this about a year ago. Our thoughts are not us. Our thoughts are just thoughts. If you get a bad thought, let it just like a cloud, let it pass in the sky. Look at it and go, wow, I'm really thinking like crap today. Wow. Okay. Feel the thunderstorm, let it go, okay? Because you're going to have all these feelings, oh my gosh. You're going to go through so much, it's going to be great. You're going to grow into a new person, you're going to get the old self back, but you're going to be like you 2.0. I'm serious, it's good. Okay, I've said enough. I love you guys. Talk to you later. Hang in there, okay? All right.